Yo, what's good, man? It's your boy DT3, man, and I'm big at you with another video, man. New media. Notification gang. God Squad. It's what it is, man. Look, check this out. Spence, both Charlo brothers, Jermel and Jamal. All three of you niggas. Y'all sleeping in silk sheets. Y'all sleeping in silk sheets. At this point, I need everybody that follow my channel to understand something. This is not my opinion, what I'm finna tell y'all. This is just what it is, bro. And y'all can take it for what y'all want to. Y'all can run with it however y'all gonna run with it. But for real, once you get to a certain plateau in combat sports, you peak out. That's it. You're done. Also in combat sports, as a professional, you have to constantly be in shape because you never know when you may get that call to have a fight. You always have to be ready for a fight. That's just how the game is. You never know when you might get a call to fill in for a fight, or you might have a fight and dude get hurt and you need another fill-in opponent, whatever. You never know, okay? So the one thing that you should always have in your head, or you should always do when it comes to combat sports, you should always be ready. You should never be out of shape. And if you're not in tip-top shape, you should be as close to tip-top shape as clinically possible. So when you enter training camp, it is not a fat camp. This hand injury with Charlo, with this Tim Tszyu fight looming, is bullshit. This proves that Charlo is not responsible. He's not taking care of himself properly. He's not doing the proper things he needs to do to maintain his health so he can avoid these type of injuries. So, as far as Jermel is concerned, I don't believe this hand injury. I don't. I think it's cap. Because you shouldn't be doing anything. You shouldn't be putting yourself in no situation where you could possibly injure yourself. And I'm sure the deflectors, you Charlo damage control motherfuckers, is going to come forth and have all the excuses. And whatever excuse or whatever reason you could use to justify why Charlo has this hand injury, I could debunk it. Whatever excuse I can debunk. Arrow is sleeping. He been sleeping in silk sheets. Now we in the place where Spence is possibly about to get stripped because because Jerron Boots Ennis is supposed to be his man though for the IBF belt. And it's funny because when I was in this group called the Boxing Bunch, sometime what was about a year or so ago, when I was in that group, we was all talking about how at that time, and this was before they was even talking about him fighting Manny Pacquiao and all that shit. This was when Arrow was actually active. This was either shortly before or after the car accident. I think it was after, if I'm gonna be correct. We was talking about how Errol Spence is gonna vacate that belt, the IBF belt. Once Jerron Boots Ennis is mandated for Errol Spence to fight, Errol Spence is going to vacate that belt. He's not gonna fight Boots Ennis. And it's funny. If Errol is the man that he say he is, or he claims he is, he would fight Boots. He would have fought Terrence by now. But it's obvious, bro. Errol Spence is done. He done. If he doesn't fight Terrence Crawford, which would be the biggest fight in his career, if he doesn't fight Terrence Crawford or Boots Ennis, who else is there for him to fight? He's not fighting Jermel, or he's not fighting the Charlos. He's not going to fight Jermel. So don't hit me with him moving up to 54, fighting Jermel or some other shit. That's not going to happen. Them Texas boys are not going to fight. They're not those type of fighters. These are divas. So who else is there for Errol Spence to fight if he doesn't defend his belt against Jerron Boots Ennis or fights for all the marbles via undisputed against Terrence Bud Crawford? Who else is there for him to fight? What major marquee fight is there for Errol? If not Terrence Crawford or Jerron Boots Ennis? Who else? Nobody. Errol is done. Jermell is about to be done. This is the game that they're playing. They're aging these fighters out. PBC fighters are aging fighters out, along with aging their own fighters out. Because these are the prime years of these fighters, and these dudes are going 2 and 3 and 4 years without even having one fight. So they're basically fighting low opposition, getting millions of dollars to fight low opposition. So when you get to the top tier opposition, you can pick and choose or not fight at all. And when I say pick and choose, I mean pick who is the less threat. These both are big names, but who is the least threat of the two? Who is the lesser of the two evils? That's who I'm going for, is the lesser. I'm not going to go for the dude that's really something, that really could give me some work. I'm going to go for the dude that he could give me some work, but he can't beat me, though. He might give me a little work. He might give me little issues here or there, but he won't beat me. He won't leave the ring with the W. I'm still going to get the W. And at the end of the day, that's what it's about. When you are paying fighters early in their career, hundreds of thousands and or millions of dollars early in their career, those are big fight numbers. Okay? It's not, in my personal humble opinion, I don't think it's the fact that they don't have the money. I don't think they don't have the money to pay these fighters for these fights. Peep what I'm saying here. What I think they don't have the money for is to pay these fighters these $1 million paydays consistently between multiple fighters. So when you have a Jermell, a Jamal, Charlo, Gervonta Tank Davis, Adrian Broner, when Adrian Broner was fucking with PBC. You have Errol Spence. You have all these big so-called name marquee motherfuckers, right? These are, you supposed to have these big name dudes. And all these dudes, well, at least these 5 dudes that I mentioned, right? You are paying these dudes at least $1 million just to fight. You cannot maintain that. You cannot maintain that pay rate with all 5 fighters consistently. You see how what I'm saying is, you know how we used to fighters fighting 2, 3, maybe even 6 times in a year, right? Now, when you paying these dudes $1 million, $2 million per fight, and they're fighting once a year, there's a reason. Can I pay you, if you're fighting 3 times a year at $2 million, that's $6 million in a year. For just one, that's just one fighter. Repeat what I'm telling you. That's just one fighter. So for this dude who on average making $2 million per fight or $1 million per fight, he fights 3 to 4 times a year. That's maybe $5 million. We ain't even counting back in money. We ain't even counting that. We just gonna go off of just straight regular purse. We just gonna keep it simple. And if I'm paying this dude $1.2 million or $1.5 million per fight, and he's fighting 3 times a year, that's $3 million. Now I could take that same $3 million that I'm paying that one person and distribute that throughout. See what I'm saying? They don't have the money to pay all their marquee fighters that money consistently. That's why you will see Jermell fight once. You'll see Errol maybe fight once. You might see Jamal fight once because they already got their money put in with Jermell or Jamal. Ain't none of the other marquee motherfuckers gonna fight this year like that. You might get a Tank Davis fight, but they're paying these fighters too much money to where they can consistently keep up that pay rate. They can't do it. Not for all. Now, if they had 1 or 2, probably. Like if it was just Tank, they'd probably be able to do it. But when you paying all your marquee or your big name dudes The ones that everybody so proclaim they want to see and all that shit, when you're paying them 1.5, 2 million and all this shit every fight, you can't pay them that every fight and they want to fight 3 and 4 times a year. These dudes be fighting 2 and 3 times a year. You be paying them damn near $10 million. That's just one fighter. One fighter. If they were fighting in the way that we want them to fight, based on how they getting paid, these fighters would be seeing between $10 to $15 million a year. Easy. If they was fighting the way that we want to see these PBC fighters fight. And based on how the PBC fighters have been getting paid, so to speak, they would be getting bank. But I do firmly believe that PBC don't have the money to pay all their fighters that consistently. They only could do it for 1 or 2 fighters at a time. And when you got real fight fans that want to see your marquee fighters fight, all of them within that year, y'all can't afford that. You can't afford to pay 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. That's $10 million. Right there. Your top 5 fighters that you pay at least $1 million to. At least $1 million per fight. So let's just say that's $5 million right there. 5 fighters, $1 million a piece. $5 million right there. It's 5 fights. But these 5 fighters only fighting at one time. So if I can pay that $5 million fee, I already got what I'm finna pay my fighters for the year. You gonna fight, boom. I got that money set up already. They already know what they finna do. But bottom line, when it comes to this combat sports shit, another thing that is not being spoke on, bro, Errol Spence is fat as fuck. He fat as fuck. And you are a professional fighter. You're not supposed to be fat like that. There was only one fighter that I've seen throughout boxing history. Only one. And I firmly believe he was kind of treated unfairly when he fought Floyd, because if they'd have let that man really be him, that fight would have been different. I'm not saying that Floyd may not have won that fight, but that fight would have been different. It'd have been way different. There's only one guy that I've seen in the history of the sport of boxing that would get fat in between fights. I mean, fat as fuck. And when fight time come, nigga totally different. Nigga just like, he looked like a totally different guy. And if you know boxing, you know who I'm talking about. And that's Ricky, the fat man, Hatton. Only dude that I've ever seen get that big, that fat, and have that much lack of discipline in between fights. And when it comes time to get ready for a fight, that motherfucker sheds them pounds so lovely. And when he gets in there, you would never know that motherfucker was just fat as fuck 2 months ago. You would never have known how fat that dude was. But Ricky Hatton was the only dude that I've ever seen get like that in between fights and get a fight and still perform at a high level. Only dude I've ever seen do that shit. Ever. So all y'all that's doing this shit now, number one, y'all doing it because they paying y'all too much money. So you can afford to not be prepared. The reason why fighters stayed in shape back in the day was because they was hungry. They was constantly having to fight to eat. If they didn't fight, they didn't eat. Nowadays, you get these fighters 1 or 2 fights and they getting that money. They don't have to fight like that. They don't have to. They don't have to give you the major marquee fights that you want, because the amount of money that they're making to put on a basic fight now was your top tier purse, was your top tier fight. So why put 2 big names together when I can make this same amount of money, this big money, fighting these no-name motherfuckers? I can make big bank fighting these no-name motherfuckers and run my mouth about the big name cats, tell you all the bullshit you want to hear, knowing good and hell well I'm not finna fight them. If you haven't figured it out by now, Errol Spence is not gonna fight Terrence Crawford. At this point, Errol Spence ain't ready to fight nobody. The nigga looking like Larry Holmes, fat, flabby, and sick. Errol Spence is not ready to fight nobody. Errol Spence is done with boxing, bro. As far as him fighting this, the nigga done. Who else is there for him to fight if not Terrence Crawford or Jerron Boots Ennis? Who else? Because I promise you throw somebody else at that nigga, he gonna say, they name not big enough. They need to do more. All this smoke bullshit, all this cap shit. Errol not finna fight nobody. Nobody. You saw when he was sitting there promoting the fight for his homeboy. How fat he looked. You the champ. Errol done. And Errol, you lied to the people about being undisputed. You lying to the folk. Boxing is a fraud, bro. Real rap. Boxing is a fraud. I don't give a fuck what anybody in the industry could tell you. It's a fraud. It's fraudulent. Fake. They on their WWE shit. Jermell, you acting like a straight pussy. You got them belts and became a straight pussy. Cause now you talking out your ass. Now you acting all soft and shit, like baby shit. I don't have it for you, Jermell or Jamal. I was trying to give Jermell your flowers because you undisputed, and I was giving you your flowers because you was fighting and you was more active than your brother. But you still say some of the most biggest bitch shit. You still be doing some cap shit. It's like, bro, that Charlo shit is real. That fake bitch ass Charlo fucking trait that y'all exude is real. I can't fuck with it. Can't fuck with it. You niggas is fake, bro. And most of you fighters in boxing are not real fighters, bro. Y'all just looking for a quick payout. Y'all not real fighters. You look at these dudes that's fighting now, bro, and you look at the end of their career, bro. These dudes is fighting 10, 15 times, getting $1 million already. Ain't fighting nobody. You're already getting $100,000, $1 million paydays. When those paydays are supposed to come in the Errol Spence, Terrence Crawford type fights. There is no reason why Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder, why that fight shouldn't happen. There was no reason for that fight to not happen. None. AJ had 3 of the 4 belts. He had 4 belts, but nobody counts the IBO. But the nigga had 4 belts. Right? 3 out the 4 that he had was the ones that everybody say that mattered the most, right? So if we want to be technical, he had 3 out of the 4 belts that matter. Deontay Wilder had the WBC belt, the green belt. There was no reason why that fight couldn't happen. No reason. Especially after motherfucker offered you $100 million. Generational wealth. Wilder ain't gonna never see that shit. That don't mean the nigga broke. That don't mean the nigga want for shit now. But I promise you, bro, you be feeling a lot better with that $100 million in your pocket right now, player. Keep your shit real. But straight up, bro, if fighters are fat in between fights, they're not dedicated to the sport. If fighters are not constantly, like Jerron Boots Ennis is dedicated because he's always in shape. When you look at Boots, you can tell that nigga in shape. When fighters are not in shape between fights, they're not taking this shit serious, bro. That is a real red flag, bro. For real, for real. As a fighter, you're technically not supposed to smoke. You're not supposed to drink. You're not supposed to put nothing bad in your body. You're supposed to eat right. All the shit. If you active, if you are currently fighting and or a champion, you're supposed to always stay sharp, stay ready, be in tip-top shape, stay on top of your diet. That shit you're supposed to do regardless whether you got a fight or you don't have a fight. That's what you're supposed to do. But when you got these dudes that's not in shape, they constantly get out of shape. Once they have a fight, they get right back out of shape. Then they got to get back in shape. Oh, you should never have to do that. You should always stay ready. Always. It makes no good damn sense why y'all not staying ready. But when y'all paying these dudes all this money early, bro, you giving them silk sheets. These dudes ain't got to get up for the Crawford fights. They sleeping in silk sheets. If Errol Spence wasn't sleeping in silk sheets, and if Errol was hungry, he'd be screaming for Terrence Crawford right now. Screaming. But he ain't tripping. He got money. Now he's sliding over to the promoter side. So he going that promotion shit. Bruh, Errol ain't finna fight Terrence. It's over. It's been over. It was over before it got started, to be honest with you. It was over when he said take the easy route and fight Sean Porter. It was over then. But I'm telling y'all, a lot of shit that y'all looking for and that y'all trying to make, it ain't it, bro. If a fighter is real, bro, he gonna stay in shape. I'm telling you. Now, if you want to go and think different, that's on your dumb ass. But I'm telling you straight up, as a motherfucker who has competed and in some instances would like to still do it, but it don't look like the way my life is going that that's going to happen. But you constantly have to stay in shape. You do not get out of shape in between fights because you never know when a fight might arise. You never know. It's a flip of a fucking coin in this game. So when you see a dude get fat in between fights and still talking that, I'll see about it, I'll think about it, da-da-da-da. No, you said, Errol, that you want to be undisputed. You cannot be undisputed until you fight Terrence Crawford. So right now, Errol, you a liar, you a bitch nigga, you full of shit. And now you just riding your clout wave. And guess what, Errol? That shit gonna be over with. Your clout is eventually going to disappear, bro. You ain't doing shit. You ain't doing nothing. Now you just basically living off of, you just basically reaping the benefits because I'm Errol Spence and I'm finna just having the cameras on me. They gonna ask me about Crawford. I'm gonna give them some bitch ass political answer because you on some bitch nigga shit. Now you can have all your niggas doing damage control all day long. Every last one of you niggas doing damage control. I have a debunk for every last one of you niggas. Some of you niggas know better. But y'all gotta play damage control. But for real, if Errol was really about fighting, he'd be in shape. Errol Spence is not even in shape to fight nobody. It is what it is. But Errol and Terrence Crawford, that shit dead. Jermell and Jamal Charlo, them niggas is just there for the check. That's why they fighting every 2 to 3 years because they gonna let their career pass them up. And then when they get to a certain age, they gonna say they gonna retire and quit boxing because they too old. And they did everything that they wanted to do. That's the same thing Gervonta Tank Davis is doing right here, right now. He trying to get that Ryan Garcia money and he finna get the fuck on. Niggas don't never plan on doing nothing marquee in this sport, bro. Real rap. 100.